Cool. So, Gus, how are you doing, man? It's been two
Good,
weeks.
man. I know it's been a little while, but everything's good. How about you?
Good, man. It's a quick 2 weeks. I don't know, man. With Thanksgiving coming up and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
even a late Thanksgiving this year, it's kind of
I
crazy
know.
that it's already end of November.
I know. It's interesting, but the other thing is, with Thanksgiving, a lot of customers want to get stuff done before they go out on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm actually not going anywhere. I'm working next week, but no one is working next week, so I have like no calls, no meetings. I'm just doing catching up with project work and stuff. Is pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So those are some of the best weeks, right? When nobody's there and you can actually
Yeah,
get a lot of stuff done.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's a
It's
blast.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, good, man. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be working next week as well, and we have a project kicking off tomorrow,
Mm,
and then just scheduling sort of what the holidays are going to look like.
yeah.
It's one of those things where if you have a tight timeline, then you still got to get things done, and what can you do around the holidays and stuff like that. So it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to ask,
Yeah.
because I'm sure people are wondering. So what is you got a beard
Mm.
going on? What's this going on?
Yeah, well, the idea was to grow this beer for the Scottish Summit. I feel like I want to look like the Scottish guys. I think it's the bearded dynamic guys or something like that.
Okay.
Is the name of it. So I felt like, if I grow a beer and I wear a kilt, I'll be like inducted into the Scottish CRM Hall of Fame or
The
something.
Hall of Fame
So
right there. Just
we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see if I get to grow it all the way till the end of February. I don't know. My wife might have a couple of objections to that, but we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
So what I've heard is if you can grow it for a month, then that's
Mm,
again I have little to speak of, but if you can
right.
grow it for a month and then just keep it trimmed, and so it's all about the manicuring after that or the upkeep. So
Yeah, I do none of that. I literally just stop shaving and see what happens. And
okay,
yeah, I've done it before, but
okay,
we'll see if I can make it all the way to the end of February. It's gonna be tough.
nice. Well, good. I don't know if anybody's joined us yet, or if you're watching the stream afterwards. If you are, welcome to Business Apps After Dark. Or
They're
uh,
probably watching the unveiling of the Tesla Cybertruck.
is that tonight?
That's what I'll be watching. Yeah, that's right now.
Should we?
So it's
Like, I kind of want to pull that up and just watch it together. I mean, like, is that
yeah.
like bad?
It would be, yeah, I think it would be bad. People expect us to talk about business applications, but I was actually looking forward to it because I don't know if you know this. I drive a truck and I placed a deposit on an electric truck next. So I'm gonna switch to the Rivian truck.
Rivian.
So Tesla today is releasing their truck, so I was
Okay.
actually looking forward to it.
So
But
that's the
we'll
Rivian?
watch. No, the
Or who
Tesla
makes the
truck is called a Cybertruck or something.
site? Okay.
Cybertruck, why not?
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
so I was actually looking forward to seeing it. And I love trucks, and I also love electric cars. So
Yeah.
having an electric truck sounds like a cool idea.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
always because
but it is after hours. So do you
yeah,
get a drink or?
I did, man.
All right,
You
good,
staying
good
with the
stuff.
beard and I'm
Yeah,
staying.
cheers to everyone
Yeah,
watching.
cheers.
All right.
So it is after hours. So hopefully you guys are able
Yeah.
to join us. If you're legal age, go ahead and join us with a drink if you do that.
Right.
It's just an opportunity for Gus and I to connect every so often and just see what's going on with each other's lives, and kind of like Mark Smith and Steve Mordew do.
Yeah,
Um,
with more hair, I
yeah,
guess.
right.
On
We got
this
more
one.
hair on this one. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for joining us on that. If we're going to compete on that, I'm glad you're on
Exactly.
my
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's good. So we're just connecting. I think one of the things I wanted to touch up on is, and kind of what this, I don't know, we kind of have like one premise of the show, and then from there, who knows where it's going to go, right?
Right. Right.
So the one I wanted to touch on is I was down in the Portland user group. Was it last week already? But yeah,
It
it
was
was,
on Saturday, I believe, right? This
yeah,
last Saturday.
they had the Dynamic
No, the
Saturday.
Saturday was Dynamics 365 Saturday, but then a few days earlier than that, or before that, was the local chapter meeting, right?
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
the one that you went to.
Yeah, that's the one I went to. And so
Yeah.
Portland, man, they have more events going on than Seattle does, let's be honest.
Hmm.
So they had the user group on Wednesday, Dynamics 365 on Saturday. The Monday through Wednesday after Thanksgiving, they're going to have the Power Platform World Tour in
That's
Portland as
awesome.
well. Yeah. And so a lot of stuff going on in Portland, which is good.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the things that they came up with and asked about was just sort of how do you pick a partner? And so I wanted to, and the other person that asked me this past week is somebody looking to join a partner sort of thing as a consultant. And so I wanted to kind of touch both sides of that. And then I know there's a number of different partners and sizes and locations and all that kind of stuff, and international ones. And just just everybody that's watching, that's going to be the premise. And then who knows where we're going to go. So
It's going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
that's right.
We'll touch on that. So
yeah.
But
and I love the fact that you never really like give me heads up on what we're going to be talking about. So you get literally my unfiltered opinion on all this stuff. So that's good. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. Is one that people sometimes wonder, right? Because there's a lot of options out there when it comes to partners, and I think that when people interact with partners out there, one of the things that they get to see the most is they get partners that will say that they're the best in the world without even hearing what the customer is interested on, what kind of industry they're on. It doesn't matter. Like if they are at the summit or whatever event they're going to, they're going to try to get that business regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel that there's some other partners out there, like us, for example, who want to understand what is it that you're looking for and then determine if we're a good fit or not. Like I'm very upfront and honest with people when they come and, at the summit or whatever, I get to speak at the summit and they're like, oh, we're looking for a partner. Like, can you beat our partner? Or can you be our partner? And I'm like, maybe we are a good fit for a lot of companies, but we're an awful fit for a lot of different companies as well. And I think that really good partners should spend time to identify where they could bring a lot of value and essentially, recommend someone else for those customers that are not going to benefit from that relationship.
Yeah, and that's tough because what you're talking about there is turning people away. So I want to give you my money, and you're telling me I can't give you my money because we're not going to be compatible. And
but I think it's all a matter of you wanting to keep your integrity and also kind of your track record. Like for me, for example, since I started Elevate back in 2014, we have never failed an implementation. So if you come to me and you try to implement something that I think is going to fail, that I don't think is the right fit for what you're trying to do, then I think that me just taking your money and doing that project and then blemishing my record is not worth it. It doesn't matter how much it is. Now, obviously, if you come to me and you say, I'm going to give you $20 million, you might change my mind. But,
we'll still make it successful.
Right. No, but I've had customers coming to me and they're like, oh, we have 5 users and we want to implement on-prem. And I'm like, well, why? Like, do you have like petabytes of data? Or like, is there any reason why you want to do that? No, it's just we think it's more secure if we have the server at the office. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I just can't, as a solution architect and a big fan of CRM Online or Dynamics 365 Online, I can really in good conscience. Doesn't matter. Like, we're not even talking about money at this point. It doesn't matter how much money's on the line. I just won't be able to do it. I can't make that recommendation.
Yeah, and I
just
think
pass on them.
Yeah, because one of the other things you're touching on there is sort of the brand and what you're known for, right? So if you're known, and this is, who is it, Ferrari? Because they've talked about like having a cheaper Ferrari, right? But as soon as you have that car that's cheaper, it's a Ferrari, it's only $30,000 or something like that. Well, it's like, well, you've just tainted the brand that you've built up, and not saying that price is the point, but at the same time, it's that, hey, there's going to be certain things that fit. And you're known in that industry. You're known in healthcare. You're known in public sector. You're known in field service. And so because you've built that brand in field service, you're not going to go off and do something that's off brand. To be frank. So yeah, I mean it's. Yeah. And so as you're looking for somebody in that,
I think that there are so many partners out there that you can literally find a partner that is a really good fit for you, and it would be a great relationship. And I think that's the advice. And I recorded, I think it was episode 2 of the podcast or something like that. It was one of the very, very early on episodes talking about how do you find the right partner? Because I said, just because they have MVPs or they have a big booth at the summit or because they have a whatever, it doesn't matter what they have if they don't work the way you want to work, right? And there's a huge spectrum of conditions and kind of situations in which you want to operate. So for example, for us, I know that we want to work with companies that want to be involved in their implementation from beginning to end. If you don't want to be involved, if you just want to pay a partner to do the work and give them like a 50-page design document so they can just create fields and entities and stuff. We're not a good fit for that. We're horrible for those situations. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to work with us and figure this out together, because you happen to be an expert in your business and I happen to be an expert in dynamics, so the two of us working together will come up with the best solution, then I'll listen to it, right? Let's figure out and see if that's the one way to work. So for us, we're a horrible partner for some companies. We're an excellent partner for others. And I think that you need to spend time on finding the right company. There's a lot of companies out there, and find the right fit for how you want to work. Don't just pick the first one that comes along or the one with the biggest booth at the summit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. And just going through that, I think it's different people want different things. We're shopping for a used car right now. And so we moved to Seattle and the buses here are pretty good. So what we did is we sold a car and we went down to one car. And now that we're looking for two cars, because I travel a little more, it's one of those things where it's like there's certain cars and certain either makers or models or who you're buying it from. Like there's so much that goes into a buying decision, right? It's not just about the price.
Just get a truck, bro. It's not too hard. Just get a truck.
Is that it? Just the electric truck? Is that what I need to buy? I don't know where to plug it in, man. Yeah. I don't have solar panels or anything like that in Seattle.
Right.
So, but yeah, just with that, it's just that whole concept of what does it look like to find somebody that fits your style of implementation, and it's hard to know what your style of implementation is.
That is a great example. I think buying cars is a good example of how a Porsche or a Ferrari, like you mentioned earlier, will be a great car for somebody and a horrible car for a family of a husband and wife and 4 kids.
Yeah.
Will be a horrible car because it's only a 2-seater and there's no functionality, really. There's no functionality for a car like that for a family. If that's your kind of mission, it would be a horrible car. And it's exactly the same for partners. I think that you should spend the time trying to identify what is it that you're looking for and then find the right fit for it.
So how do you? So I did drop down in the live stream chat. It is episode 2. I don't know how you memorize all these episodes. You got 60+ episodes, and you're just like that one.
Right.
That's impressive. That's good memory.
Well, it's one of the early ones. They're pretty easy to remember, but
the single digits.
Yeah, like I wouldn't know what 26 was, for example, or something like that. But
I kind of want to test you. What do you think 26 is?
I would say 26 is probably the one where Gustav, questioned my top 20 from episode 20, something like that. That's either 26 or 24. It's one of those.
24. Wow, you're good. 26 is about millennials and talent and career opportunities. That's probably why
I don't remember it.
That's actually a good one, man. But I like that one.
Yeah, I tend to remember the memorable episodes. But anyway, let's get back on track.
There is no track, man. We're just hanging out.
Oh, that's right. We don't have a track.
But it's actually a good segue because it goes from millennials and talent and career opportunities. So the other, I told you, look at you. You're already thinking ahead. You're setting us up for the next one. So if you're choosing a partner, if you're a college kid looking to, whether you're a college kid, millennial, because again, millennials are. Most of us are out of college, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
But you're looking to change careers. You've been the power user in your group, and now you're like, okay, so what's next to me? What's next for my change? And I've been doing this dynamics thing, and I seem to be pretty good at it, or this power platform, or whatever they're calling it now. What is it? How do they choose a partner? Because they've been so focused in, I've been doing my day job, I've been supporting people, and now I feel like to go to the next thing, a lot of people come up to me, and this is why you're episode on you want to be a solution architect is so popular, is they want to be a solution architect, but how do they pick the right partner to become a solution architect or to go
that is one of the huge advantages that we have in our industry, right? Where we have virtually 0% unemployment and everyone is kind of looking for talent. So that is it's a great situation to be living in. And I talked a little bit about that on one of the videos that we released a few weeks ago. I think it was we hit 50,000 downloads on the podcast, and I released a video where I talk about career and essentially how do you become an expert and all of that. And one of the things I mentioned on that video is that people think that because you have potential, because you're willing to work hard, because you're willing to, learn something new, people are just going to hire you. And
Hmm.
I put a little clip of um, the Mark Cuban, the owner of the
Yeah.
Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks, talking about, answering a question. He was doing an interview about business, and somebody asked him, like, will you take somebody that has a lot of potential, or will you hire somebody that has the knowledge already?
Yeah.
Who would you pick? And he was like, no brainer, the guy with the knowledge, because everyone has potential. Like,
Yeah.
everybody has potential. So, and what I talk about is, you need to learn, gain skills, right? And one way to gain skills is by picking a good partner to learn, by being in implementations, understanding the business and all of that. And I think that a lot of people try to make decisions when it comes to partners based on, I don't know, this idea that it will be like their forever career or forever job. And right, and careers are up and down. Like,
Yeah.
they're kind of coming and going. So I think that, what you need to do is pick a company based on what your mission is, right? If you want to become a solution architect, but you already have a family and you don't want to travel and all of that, there will be
It's
partners
tough.
out there that will be a horrible fit for you
Yeah.
because they have 75, percent travel requirements, right? And then you have some other partners where you rarely travel. So if you're a single guy or a lady and you want to, see the world and travel
Yeah.
around and go to exotic destinations like Topeka, then probably a partner that keeps you working at the office is not the right choice. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of our industry, that you get to pick based on what you're looking for. You get to pick where to go, and obviously compensation plays a role there.
Yeah.
I think that based on who you are, try to find a partner that gives you a shot, kind of matches your mission statement, and then once you gain the skills, decide if you want to stay with them or go somewhere else. I think that partners are, there to make sure that they treat their employees, well, so they
Yeah.
can stay, right?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, to all those points, I mean, it's one of the things the reasons I stay where I'm at with RSM, because it's something that I feel like there's growth opportunity. It's an opportunity to help grow a
Yeah,
team and grow some skills that are beyond technical stuff. And so again, that's something that
that's
I
right.
value is how do you train people? And it's an opportunity to have a safe place to do that. It's not something that I'm off on my own and like, have people depending on their livelihoods directly because I didn't make a sale or something like that. And so there's sort of that incubator kind of feeling where I'm at. And so that's an opportunity to help build a business and to try things and to fail and stuff like that and to do it safely. There's other
Yeah,
partners where, hey, like people go out on their own because they want to do that, but they have the entrepreneurial thing and you get benefits, a huge number of benefits. If you want to talk about that, talk to Gus or talk to Mark Smith or
yeah.
Steve. There's a number of people that have gone out on their own and done very successful things with it. So um, that's
And I
not where
think
I'm
the
at.
the
So
other the other side of it too is the fact that our industry is kind of small too.
true.
And you also, maybe you're inspired by someone who's out there,
Yes.
and you can work on the same company and the same team
Yeah.
they work on. Like, I've been pretty lucky that, I've whenever I need a talent for our company or whatever it is, I was able to reach out to people and either convince them to come and work with us, or entice them enough that it was like, well, even though I really like what I'm doing, having an opportunity to work on that team
Yeah.
and see what you guys are doing would be really, really great for me. And the same thing with RSM. They want to work with you, or if they're in the finance and operation, they see Rachel profit
Yep.
everywhere, and they're like, oh, it would be awesome to work with Rachel and that team and learn from her or whatever. That's also attractive. And I think that's why there are partners out there that are really investing in talent that is public too. Like, you see Hitachi, for example, has,
Yes,
I don't
for
know how
sure.
many gazillions of MVPs now
Yeah.
working there. They're the company that has the most by far.
It,
I think they have, just in the US, they have like 8 or 9 or 10 or something. There's only like 29 CRM MVPs in the US. So
yeah.
for you to have like a whole third of the market is pretty impressive.
Is that where Joel's at? Joel and the
Yeah.
Hobbit and stuff. I don't even know
Yeah.
that. Is
Joel,
it Sean?
Sean, Matt Whitman is
Oh, that's
there.
right. Yeah.
Andrew Butenko is there.
Forgot about
Like, they
Andrew.
have a ton of MVPs there. So
Okay.
they can clearly identify that, and that really, makes you think. Like, if you follow the
Yeah.
industry and you see that all these MVPs are there, it makes you wonder, like, I guess they're there because things are,
Yeah.
going great for them, and they're
They're
being
enjoying it.
supported
Yeah.
as an MVP, and and all of that. So
Yeah.
um I think that, that also is attractive, and I think partners should invest, time and effort to allow their employees to become those community leaders as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And that's tough. I mean, having come from the professional service side, I mean, that's where we work, right? And so it's that balance between every hour you're not generating revenue is an
Yeah,
hour lost. And so just being in that balance. And again, it's not a, it's not, I don't know, it's this balance between, hey, we want to give back to the community and there's a lot of great things that you can do. Um, and at the same time, if you never make a dollar, then it's hard to keep the lights on. And so it's that
that's true.
there's somebody that gives the example that it was like, you can always generate revenue. So if I give you if you give me, what is it? If I give you essentially 20 hours worth of work and you pay me for 1 hour's worth of work, then I made revenue, right? So that's awesome, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, that's not a sustainable model. And so there's a whole, I don't know, as I've gone and had opportunities to learn about business and how to manage a business, it's been interesting sort of seeing that balance and making sure that you're making sure that talent is excited about what they're doing and that they're growing, and these kids out of college are super excited and they want to change the world, and there's a lot of opportunities to do that with Dynamics and with the Microsoft platform. But
Absolutely.
at the same time, you can't always you can't spend 45 hours a week
Blogging and doing,
blogging. Yeah,
community stuff.
yeah,
For sure, but I do
but
think that, there is a special group of people out there that don't mind, staying up after their kids go to bed to
yeah,
do stuff like this. I mean, there is a special group of people out there that enjoy it. Like they
yeah,
don't do it for money. They do it because they really like it. And I think that, we talked about that on episode 3 when we talked about how do you, become an MVP and all of that, which is, we don't, if you're doing it just because you won that title, the whole
yeah,
I just want to be called an MVP, then you're going to lose it. And we've seen it lately with MVPs that have lost their MVP award because they got the first one and then their
yeah,
activity kind of drops. It's a lot of work to get the first one, and
yeah,
then maintaining the award year after year is still work. But by being an MVP, a lot of doors open up, right?
yeah.
Like I was just contacted a couple days ago to go and do some sessions and deliver some training at the UG Summit in Barcelona,
Oh,
right?
nice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
so I'm excited about that. Would that happen if I was in an MVP? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
tough to
that
say. Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of people out there that are experts and that happens for them regardless
yeah,
of the title, but a lot of doors open up, making it easier for you to put in the time and the contributions so you can get the award year after year.
yeah. And it's yeah. I mean, that's not why. I don't know. You and I have had this discussion before, but it's in some ways it's distracting, man. When people come up to you and like, oh, so you're going to become an MVP, and I'm like, that's not why we're doing this, right? And so it's not why
Right.
we're hanging out and talking and just hanging out and drinking a beer and having a drink, and it's because we enjoy it. And it's a blast to hang out and to bounce ideas off of you. And to date, you haven't said I'm crazy yet. I'm still waiting for that, but you've said it nicely in some ways. You just give me that look, and you're like, I don't know what you're saying, dude. Just keep going.
Right.
But but no, it's been fun. It's an exciting. Again, whether it's a partner that you're looking at and what you're looking for, it's not. I don't know. When Mark, I kind of disagree with Mark. Mark is like, if you're in this business, you need to have that as a goal, is to become an MVP. And I don't think that's for everybody, man. I think you can have a great life and a great career, and not
Yeah.
become an MVP. And you can really, like, I've seen people have a blast at a client site, and not a client site, but you know what I'm saying, on the user side, and they have an awesome life, and it's not even a work life
Yeah.
balance, but it's just an excitement around it.
I
So
mean, I disagree with Mark too in terms of having that as the goal for everyone. I don't think that being an MVP is the next progression on your career.
true.
It's not like
Yeah.
you're a functional consultant and then from that you become a
Solution.
solution architect and then an MVP. Like
Yeah.
that's not a mission. I think anyone can be an MVP. You can be a
True.
customer and you can
Yeah,
be an
for
MVP.
sure.
You can be a developer, project manager, sales guy. Doesn't matter. I'm talking constantly to people and say, man, you should start, contributing on the community because I think you have some amazing perspectives
Yeah.
that will be great to have. I like the MVP Summit, or it will be
Hmm.
it will be great to have behind the scenes. I think Microsoft would really value the feedback that you can bring in and ultimately make the product better for
Yeah.
everyone just based on the feedback that you have because of your industry, because of the projects you're working on, because of whatever. Like I'm constantly,
Yeah.
asking people to really share what they have because I want to see it, and I think other people in the community want to see it.
Yeah.
But there's also an
Yeah.
epidemic of people that reach out to MVPs. It happens to me, happens to a bunch of other MVPs as well, where they are like, oh, like congratulations on your award, especially new MVPs. And you'll see this, new MVPs are like, people reach out to them on LinkedIn and be like, congratulations on the award. Please nominate me to be an MVP. It's like, yeah, that's the first thing you say. It's to ask me to nominate you. And like I mentioned on a previous episode, I think that there's a really high chance that if you get nominated, and we recorded this episode recently, which was the myths about the MVP award. I don't know if
Yeah.
you listened to that.
I
But
listen
one
to
of the
all your
things I
stuff, man.
talk about, yeah, the one of the things I talk about is this myth that we don't want other people to be MVPs or we don't nominate
Yeah.
anyone or whatever. It's we do
Interesting.
that all the time. We do nominate people all the time. We don't get to vote on who becomes an
Right.
MVP, but if you get nominated by an MVP, you pretty much have their vote.
Yeah.
And typically the threshold for one MVP is matched by a bunch of other MVPs as
Right.
well. So like if I think you should be an MVP, there's a chance that a couple other
Other
dozen MVPs will also think the same.
That's interesting because I've never, I don't know, I'm not on that side of it, which is in some ways kind of really nice. But it never occurred to me that that's why people thought that MVPs don't want other MVPs or new people. And it's because people have reached out to you and said, hey, nominate me. And you're like, I don't know you, so I don't feel comfortable nominating you. And so it becomes that perception. And I've never, even though I listened to the podcast, it didn't come across that way. So I appreciate you kind of going into that a little more.
I mean, and I
And
don't
why
want to
people,
generalize. I
no,
don't want
for
to
sure.
say that. I don't want to say that every MVP out there is wants other MVPs. I think the majority of MVPs want other MVPs. But I'm sure there's some other MVPs that don't want that. Like when you
Huh.
get to be the one out of four like Dynamics GP MVPs in the world, you probably don't want to have some other 10 or 20 MVPs because that's a really good, cool thing to have. The fact that you're one out of three or one out of four or whatever. But I think that for the vast majority of MVPs, we won a lot more people. I
Yeah.
think Microsoft wants a lot more people. Especially on the Power Platform side,
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
their strong, kind of push right now. And we don't really have a whole lot of Power Platform MVPs. We have
Yeah.
Dynamics MVPs, we have Power BI MVPs, but not straight up Power
Platform. Yeah.
Platform Canvas apps, CDS kind of MVPs. So I think you're going to see a push. You're going to see those numbers grow. But yeah, I mean, I want more MVPs, and the I want the MVPs that come in to be as different as possible from my point of
Yes.
view. I want different, experience. I want different opinions.
So
I like to,
yeah.
argue about the stuff that I think is right. And if you don't think is right, I want to hear why, so yeah, why would I want a bunch of robots that think the same thing I think and have the same experience I have? It
So
doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
and I think the reason that so it, and the reason you want more MVPs is because people. One of the things that my understanding is to become an MVP is you've put stuff out there in community, right? So there's two different things that you've touched on that we haven't necessarily talked about. One is people that you've talked to people and you're like, hey, you should put stuff out and you should put a blog out there and you should speak at events and stuff like that. And the reason for that is because you want that view out there and shared because they have value. And I was talking to Todd, I think his last name's Mercer, but he's from Canada. He
Yep.
just won the
Todd
All-Star.
Mercer.
Yeah. You read these
Yep.
names and it's like a book where you read a name and you're like, I'm not exactly sure how that's said, but we're going to go with that. So anyways, so Todd Mercer, and we talked at Summit and it was this concept and he's like, something like flipped in it. Like there was a switch and it was like, all of a sudden he was like giving more value, and not necessarily giving more value, but he was able to present value. And he was like, okay, like it's this weird place where like I feel like I'm okay to present because people, he's beyond sort of the stage 2 or 3, right? And so the people in stage 1 really could use his help and stuff like that. And so I think that's one of the reasons that you say like, hey, I want you to present, I want you to put blogs out there and community stuff because you have a unique perspective. And so
Absolutely.
ultimately that if you've contributed enough or whatever, that's when you get the MVP award, and Microsoft
Yeah.
recognizes the
Go and earn it.
contribution, right? And so it's because of these different contributions. And so when you say, hey, I want different MVPs, it's because you've seen in the community this growth and this groundswell of just this information coming from different places. And so very much agree because I don't know, diversity and that ability to see from different people's perspective is huge. I was just talking to somebody last week, and it was just like, I don't understand how somebody comes from this perspective, and it's not because I just can't put myself in that position.
Sure.
And so I want to learn from them. I want to see how they would handle something like that. So
that's the only way we can learn. If if we all have different opinions, and our opinions are, hopefully founded on personal experiences and things that we've learned along the way. But I think it's funny that you mentioned Todd, because Todd is one of those people that I think he's a total superstar. And sometimes I feel with Todd, I don't know if he's going to watch this or not, but I feel that he struggles to believe in himself more than we believe in him. So, for example, we had a Ask the Experts at the UG Summit, and I pulled him to the stage, like, just not to the stage, but like to the front of the room. Like, no, you're one of the experts. You're not one of the people in the audience. You're going to get to answer questions. And he was sort of like, you can see that he is kind of, I don't want to say intimidated to be in the front of the room because he gets to present and stuff. But I think that he perhaps doesn't have, I don't know if it's the confidence, or I don't know if it's the belief
humility,
that his experience and his knowledge is legit, and that he deserves to be up here up front with us.
Yeah.
So I do that all the time. I do that at the medics booth. Like, if I've noticed you, if I've noticed that you have real experience, I'll pull you in one of the videos. I'll pull you on stage. I'll promote you because I believe in your expertise.
Yeah.
Just like, at the same time, I'm not shy talking about the people that I don't really feel they add a whole lot on the community. I do that privately, though. I don't do that in videos and stuff.
For sure.
But
which is good.
If I see, people out there that are not really helping the community, that are, let's say, criticizing things without really providing an answer or a way to improve it, things like that, I'm one of the ones that notices those things as well. I notice the positive and the negative.
Yeah. And and you just got to, I'm glad that you do that in private, and hopefully you let them know and say, hey, I think you're either off base or whatever. And so again, how you deal with that kind of stuff. But you haven't sent me a DM yet around that yet, so I appreciate that. So hopefully I'm...
No, but you see people and say, it's like, oh, CDS sucks. Like, okay, so is that it? Like, how is that helping
just keep
the
going.
community?
Like, what about it? Yeah,
right.
If
I want to hear.
If you add more to that, then we have value. But if you just
I want to
there,
here's what I would do to improve it. I thought it was unstable, and then I made it. I changed something, or here's the mission that I'm trying to accomplish, and the tools are not really helping me. Microsoft would really value that. Microsoft doesn't want continuous praise, just empty praise, like, oh, you guys are awesome, keep up the good work. No, they want to hear that, there are some things that can be improved. Nothing is perfect out there. They want constructive criticism, but just to call something and say, I would never use this, or without providing the reasoning why or what needs to be done for that feature or product or whatever to get better, then, you're just being a negative person and not really adding a whole lot of value.
Yeah.
That's the way.
And I think it's taking that second thought, right? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, this has negatively impacted me. Okay, awesome. So you have that feeling, you have that emotion, you have that thought. So how did you get beyond it, or what about that would improve, right? And so it's not just that initial, okay, this is bad or whatever. What's the next thing? And it's taking that extra 30 seconds or whatever, or maybe half an hour of sitting there being like, okay, how would I improve this? Because at Microsoft, again, it's been interesting, just my perspective, kind of since moving to Seattle and interacting with the product team. And this, I don't know when James Phillip, 2-3 years ago that he joined the team. But there's been a huge change in how Microsoft is receptive, because it was always sort of like the mothership out in Seattle, and it was just kind of like whatever they do gets pushed out and whatever. But I've seen so much involvement by their team where they honestly want to find out, like, how do people view this and how do people use it? And when you get an opportunity to meet those product team members, if you ever come out to the chapter meetings here in Seattle, just pitching that. We don't have a sponsor, but anyways, they really honestly are like, oh, so you thought it that way. And they, again, we're looking for that diverse perspective. But
and they're the first ones to admit when things are not working and that they need to get better at something and work on something. And they talk about ways in which they want to improve it too. They don't just criticize themselves and say, we know it doesn't work. so what? Like, no, they said, we know it doesn't work, and here's what we're going to do to fix it.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love constructive criticism. I love criticism as long as it's constructive, right? Criticize me, but help me improve, right?
Yeah.
That's I think the secret to being really valuable.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it used to be funny. I used to joke when software was released that, oh, that's a feature kind of thing. And as opposed to, that's a bug that we're going to
Yeah.
fix. It was a feature. That's the way it's supposed to
I'm
work.
hitting this button and nothing is happening. Oh yeah, that's
It's a
a
feature.
feature.
Yeah. It lets you click the button as many times. It doesn't do anything. And so it's therapeutic. So that's why we included it.
That's right.
So, but
Cool.
no, it's good.
I think it's interesting that we're doing this YouTube, broadcast or streaming or whatever, and
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about the whole scandal with the Houston Astros. Though I get to ask you this
The
because
Houston.
you're a baseball fan.
Yeah. Okay.
With the whole cheating scandal, and you're wearing the White Sox.
It's White Sox. Yeah, they're good.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, the old school White Sox stuff. So what do you think about that?
I'll be honest. I haven't dug in too much to it. My understanding. So I'll give you my understanding, and we can talk about it. So my understanding is that, was it 2016, 2 years ago, or 17?
2017. Yeah.
Yeah, they were using essentially somebody.
No, they've been doing this since 2017.
Oh, no way! I thought it was like
they
1 year.
started in.
See, this is where I'm.
No.
So they were essentially using cameras to steal signs.
Since 2017, that's right.
A high level. And so I don't know if they were stealing pitches, or if they were stealing base signs, or if they were stealing. I don't know. I haven't dug into that.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Did they use it during a game? Is what I'm curious. Or was it
every single home game? Yes.
Well, that makes sense since it was their scoreboard.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when I lived in Colorado, Tulowitzki was in Colorado, was a shortstop there. And so his average was 50 points different at home than it was away. And so everybody thought he was stealing.
If you look at the differences on the Astros players, like some of them are ridiculous. Like Brian McCann, who's the catcher, he's like 32, like 0.32 average, away, and like 387 at home. It's like huge difference.
I haven't looked
Even
at that.
Altuve is like 400 plus at home and then 130 something away. Like all these guys are like super like
statistically
inflated.
They're out of
yeah, it's insane. And then there are some players that will bat like 300 regardless,
they're like
they're just good players, good batters, whatever.
Gwynn.
But yeah, some of these other players are like ridiculous. I mean, it's so blatant. And you look at the charts, and it's funny because I was watching a video about this, and the guy's saying, it's like, I'm going to show you a chart. You think this is fake. You think this is photoshopped. There's a chart they put together about like the strikeouts or something like that by team, like average strikeouts by team at home. And it looks like a line. Like it's not a straight line, but it will be like a little like this. And like all the teams are there, and then the Astros are like boom all the way to the floor of like the chart on like strikeouts at home. It would be like the difference is so ridiculous that there's absolutely no doubt those guys were cheating. So I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. Like because the maximum fine is like $2 million, which
that's
for
maximum.
One of these, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's like a contract. That's like one dude's contract that he picked up.
That's like a backup catcher's contract. Like it's not
no offense
even
to
like
backup catchers, but
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's not an amazing contract. I think the minimum wage in the major leagues is like $700,000 or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, so yeah, $2 million is nothing. So I wonder what's gonna happen because
they won a World Series in that.
Yeah, the year they started cheating, they won the World Series. So they went literally from worst in the league to world champions when they started cheating. And it's funny because, you watch all these people that play on the major leagues and stuff, and they're saying that stealing signs or knowing what pitch is coming to you is the absolute worst way, or like the most advantageous way of cheating. Yeah. Like unless you tell the other people that you can't wear gloves or something like that, or you have to throw with your weak hand. Like there's nothing you can do that is a bigger advantage, unfair advantage than knowing what the other pitcher is throwing.
So I'm not. So this is kind of twofold. One, I'm not opposed to stealing signs, and I'm not opposed to if you're on the playing field or in the dugout, and you pick up a sign and say, "Hey, dude, 2. If he throws 2, it's a curveball or whatever." If you pick that up, that's fair game. But if you're
Of course,
using
if you're in
something off
second base
field,
or whatever, if you're
exactly.
in second base or
Yeah.
whatever, you can see it and you put your hands on your waist or
Yep.
whatever, raise your arm to
You know.
tell the other
You know.
batter, like, yeah, like I'm just saying, like if you do a non-technologically enhanced way of
If it's
picking
off
up
the
signs,
field, if
I
it's
get it.
something that's coming off the field, yeah.
That's part of the game. But if you have some ridiculous telescope camera from center field with
Well, it doesn't take
AI
that much. Yeah.
learning, yeah, learning signs and stuff, like they would say, like the first inning wasn't done and they already knew all the signs. It was like ridiculous, like algorithms, like this stuff is deep. So
I didn't
I mean,
realize that. Okay.
yeah.
So if you want to use the Microsoft AI build, no, I'm just kidding. The AI builder,
Let's
cognitive
tie it all
service.
up to Azure AI. Yeah.
They may have.
And it
Was
wouldn't
it that
be-
or AWS, man? Like who else are they
Yeah,
using?
whichever.
IBM Watson out there.
Anyway, I just
did
wanted to
not
throw
realize
an
that.
off-topic,
No, I love that.
off-topic conversation.
So with the
this trip.
because well, AWS was like all the sponsors, right? So they can give you the percentage of like if a guy was going to steal a base, right? They would like tell you the percentage and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'm curious on. Yeah, I'm not. That's crazy. Because do you take away the championship and like give it to the other team in 2017, or like what's that?
Yeah.
Like what's
I
the
don't know.
punishment
I
there?
think someone was
You're
talking
gonna
about, I
make the
think it was
revenue.
from ESPN or CBS Sports or whatever. They were talking about how they didn't take the championship from the Yankees the year that like half the team was like in PEDs, right? The year that everybody was
Yeah.
taking steroids and they got caught. They beat the Twins, I think, that year or something.
Yeah.
They didn't take the championship from them. So they were saying that maybe taking the championship is too much. I think they should take it away, honestly. Like if there was a way to do it. I mean, if you cheated your way to the world championship, I think you should be stripped from it. I mean, they do it in the Olympics when you win the gold medal
Right.
and they find out that you took steroids or whatever, they
Yeah.
take them away. Like literally, like your medal is stripped away. So
But does this? I mean,
why
does this
would this be
become like
different?
the Patriots? Because the Patriots, everybody, Deflate Gate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Yeah.
but it would be, yeah, like the Flagate or whatever. I don't think that was proven, or I don't know. Like, I don't think the Patriots are the cleanest
No, they were
team in
taping somebody
sports.
else's practice or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
of course. These guys are
If
trying
you're not
everything they can to
if you're not cheating, you're not
to
trying
win.
or something like that.
Let's insult all fans. Next stop is Alabama.
Oh wow,
Alabama
yeah.
football. Yeah. Anyway.
You live in
So
Georgia,
no, but
man.
what
That's
I'm saying
dangerous.
is, like, imagine the Patriots if they knew the calls from the other quarterback. Like, the quarterback will make a call, like, 35 Omaha, whatever, and they knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, there would be no chance they're going to lose the game. So, if somehow they were using technology to learn all the plays, or they use technology to steal the other, team's playbook or something like that, they should totally lose their championship and everything. Like,
So
yeah,
I'll flip it on its head. So
yeah,
I mean, there's a whole movie about it, Moneyball, right? And so there's this movie about cybermetrics and coming into baseball and saying, who should you pick up? And the A's went like crazy wild on that, right? And
that's
so so where does it end, right? So is it just on the field, or can you use it to figure out who you should pick up?
No, I mean, I think that using analytics, switching with that movie is about is switching from my gut and my experience and a hunch that I have on this player, like, oh, this guy looks good or whatever. And you saw it in the movie, like all these scouts, like just giving their opinion on players. Whereas these guys with algorithms would say, yeah, you might think the guy is amazing, but if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like it's too amazing. And it's all about scoring runs, right?
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Like, we're going to create a team that scores runs. That's it. Because if we score runs, we win.
But if
So you're
you
using
steal signs, then
analytics-
you can score runs.
Yeah, no, but this information, the analytics are information that every team has. Like, every team has that information. They can do or not with it whatever they want. Now, if you enhance, if you use technology to get information that other teams don't have, that is an unfair advantage. I mean, it's just the way it works.
What if you give them
that's
the same stream? So everybody gets everybody's home games and you can pick it up. Because every game streamed, right? So why don't you just be like, hey, we're going to tap into MLB for $120 a year
Right.
and just record the game, feed that through our analytics, and just pick that up?
I don't think that's what's happening though. It's not just that. These guys had a camera and it was being fed to the dugout, and then from the dugout they would whistle or bang a trash can. One bang for this, two bangs for that. Like, they would literally, you can just watch it. They were telling people you should drop like a link on the description of this video so
Yeah,
people
I
can
will.
watch this.
I already found the image. I'm going to drop the image in there.
Yeah, but like you can hear it on the video. Like they would make a sign and they would bang it once for like slider and twice for change up or whatever. Like it's so outrageous
Yeah.
uh how those guys cheated. But anyway, we should probably get back on track and talk
Why?
about dynamics.
Why? We talked for half an hour about
I
dynamics.
wonder I
This
wonder
is 5 minutes.
who else is watching this thing. I don't know. How do we have
Yeah,
any
we got one person, New York
what?
Giant. It's actually, hopefully I don't give away his secret identity, but my brother David,
Oh,
who
alright.
does,
Well, the
he's been doing a
Giants
lot
are
of.
clearly not cheating. Like you can tell. You can
That's
tell
his
the Giants
gamer
are not.
tag. It's not. He's not a Giants fan. But he
All
is a
right.
Giants fan. But anyways,
Okay.
he's doing a lot of Portal stuff. He's the one that we were talking about. So when I'm
Yeah.
not streaming with you, what I'm doing is gaming with him, and so we're playing like League of Legends, and
Huh.
Jonas's son actually is
It's like a professional
he's a
player,
professional
right? In
esports
Germany or
player,
something.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so it was funny because he posted and Jonas act like he didn't know anything. I think he knows more than he lets on. But he posted, and my brother and I ended up playing Tuesday night for an hour or so, and so that's
With
my
Jonas's
hobby.
son?
No,
Or
I'd love
just
to,
not?
but I think it's like
Okay.
3 a.m. in Germany when we finally get on.
Right. That's true.
No, it's
I
anyways.
don't know what League of Legends is. I don't have a whole lot of time to play video games. I wish I did. Like I feel like I have more video games than the average like home in the United States. I've played none of them.
Dude, come
Uh
on.
Dude, I have an Xbox like whatever the latest Xbox, whatever it is, and I never play. And I have games. Here's the thing: like you go to the MVP Summit, and they give you like a voucher that you can use at
Yeah,
the employee store where
yeah.
everything's like way cheaper than normal. And they always have games, and like every year I would buy a game, and I guarantee you I have games like wrapped. Like I've never
Still,
opened. Like I would see him and I'm like, oh, this looks amazing, and I
yeah.
would just bring it home and never play him. I don't know why every year I feel like this voucher is burning in my hand. Like I need to buy something, and it's typically games, and I never play them. It's so annoying, and
So,
yeah, and I have a Steam account. I don't even think it has
dude,
games in it. Like yeah, I don't. I bought it because I was learning how to fly planes, and they have X Plane or whatever the game is called. And I played a couple times, and
so
then
you
I got
have one
annoyed.
game. You have at least one
But
game in there.
yeah, I have one game. I have like right here and on the floor next to my office. I wish I could move the camera so you can see it. It's like a whole like control panel of a plane of a Cessna 172,
So,
which is what I'm learning how to fly.
yeah.
It's right here on the floor, like everything, pedals, yoke, thrust, like everything is in here. And I have one of those Samsung,
Yeah.
headsets. It literally feels like you're inside the plane. So to plan maneuvers, 20, 30, 45-degree turns and stuff like that works great. But, once you start doing it on the real plane, it's sort of like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
way better on the plane than on
Real life
being here
IRL is
involved.
always better. Yeah.
Yeah. So
In real
real
life.
life is
Yeah.
better. So I invested, I don't know how much money on this simulator thing, and I'm not using it at all. So
So
if
if anybody
anyone
would
is
like to
looking
pick
for
up
a
one,
Cessna 172 realistic simulator, I'll sell you this one for half whatever I pay.
kind of what I want to do is one of our next streams is we'll go fly a plane. Like you fly the plane, and virtually I'll be there, like sitting next to you. We'll just like have a conversation and like just like,
Right.
as we're flying.
No, we try to do that. So Guyan, who's another CRM
Yeah.
MVP, he's actually a pilot. I am just learning. I'm not allowed to take passengers yet. I can only fly by myself. But Guyan is actually a certified pilot who's actually going through his instrument rating now, so he can fly at night and in inclement weather and all that
Wow.
stuff. So
Nice.
he's legit. So we actually wanted to have like this thing, but on a plane where we go and fly together. But unfortunately, when I was in New Zealand, he's in New Zealand.
Okay.
The weather was awful, so
Hmm.
we couldn't really go out and do that. But that would be pretty cool. I think at some point we'll do it. Like hopefully you'll be in town for that when I can finally take passengers.
There you
We'll
go.
go up
That'd be
and
fun.
record this thing, beer business applications and planes or whatever.
Yeah, it won't be after
But
hours, that's for sure.
I know it won't be after hours for sure. But it's one of those things, and it's kind of interesting, like because flying planes was kind of the skill that I picked. Every year I pick
Yeah.
a skill that I want to learn, and flying planes was in 2019. So now I think we're
Do you have
almost a
one for
month
2020?
away. No, I don't have one for 2020. So I need to pick one. I have a couple of like options and ideas. My wife hates almost all of them. but I'm trying to figure out which one is best. So one of the options was learning how to play the drums. So I've always wanted to learn
Okay.
how to play the drums. So why not? So she hates that because obviously I'm gonna be playing drums at home, and she,
You're
and
like a
super.
little kid.
Yeah,
Boom,
well, yeah, it's annoying,
boom.
right? So it's annoying. So that was one, is learning how to play drums. The other one is I wanted to get into stand-up comedy. So like
Yeah.
just doing stand-up comedy, why not try that? Do a class and then just show up at a few like open mics or
Yeah.
whatever, and learning how to do that. So I thought that was cool. And I think the third one, it
Does she
was
not
either
like?
like between
Go ahead. What's the
what?
third
No,
one?
she was. Like that one is away from the house, so that's the
Oh, I
one that
gotcha.
she
I gotcha.
supports
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most, I think. And then the other one was either learning how to ride a motorcycle or playing golf, one of the two. Like I always have to, I always want to have one that is pretty easy.
So
But
riding a
I don't know.
motorcycle
I
is
think,
easier than learning to play golf. Let's be honest. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm
it
just saying,
depends on
like
what.
it's easy to pick.
Yeah.
So I can just,
Yeah.
get
Go out
get
to the
after it
range
and
and
learn how to
yeah.
play golf or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. I just picked up a rebreather. For people who are divers, will know what
Mm-hmm.
that is. Which is
That's awesome.
pretty pretty interesting skill to learn how to dive on rebreathers. So I just picked one of those up. It's being made. It's going to be delivered in about 6 weeks. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I'll be learning that in 2020. So 2020 will be learning how to do rebreathers
Okay.
for me, which is pretty
So is
interesting.
that's going to be the one then, or you have another one?
I wasn't planning on that being one, but I feel like now that I bought the rebreather, I should probably learn how to do that.
Yeah.
That will be like my goal because that's happening regardless. So it's kind of I'm gonna nail it, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a goal or not, it's happening. Now that I bought it, I signed up for the class and everything, so I want to learn. And
Okay.
I'll be at Inner Space, which is an event in what is it, May of 2020. So if there are any divers out there watching this thing, come over. Inner Space in Grand Cayman. It's a
Okay.
whole week of diving for people with rebreathers. So
That'd be cool.
yeah, rebreather diving is it's the next level on once you learn how to dive with a regular open circuit, which is a tank.
Mm-hmm.
The next level after that is getting to technical diving, which is multiple tanks or using a rebreather the way I'm doing. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited
I have
about
so many
being able to
questions.
go. Yeah, I'm excited about being able to go down there. 300 feet, whatever, 300 plus
That's
feet
cool.
on the water, staying for 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. It's
That's
gonna be
really
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
So I kind of have the other. So I think if we're gonna do this together, I want to do improv. I saw
There you
that.
go.
And it's a little bit different than stand up. We've touched on this before.
Yeah.
But improv, I feel like half of what we do as consultants, not necessarily is improv, but at the same time, I was asked to give a presentation, like 2-3 hours before it was due, and just like,
Yeah.
so how do you do this, and how do you put the material together, and so how do you make it fun and enjoyable? And so I think that would be something that, as somebody that presents, would be a handy skill. The other one that you mentioned was golf and riding a motorcycle. I've done both of those, and so
Oh, there you go.
yeah, so I have those.
You're ahead.
I don't. Well, yeah, I don't have flown a plane. I want to do the diving one though. So I think the diving one I
Yeah.
should do next year, and then maybe
Yeah,
a
just
year or
learn
so we
learn
could
how
do
to
that.
dive open circuit like a regular,
Yeah.
diver with a tank, just like you see everywhere. That will be a good first step. I'm already a master diver, so I kind of reached the end of that,
Okay.
and with all the specialties and stuff. So I wanted to get into technical, and that's what I'm doing now. But yeah, I mean, I think that learning a new skill every year, and you don't
Mm.
have to. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing. Like I know
Mm.
flying planes is expensive, but like you can become like you just want to learn how to cook. Like you can be a chef or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
that'd be
learn.
good.
Like you can just pull videos from YouTube and tutorials online and just learn how to cook. Like it doesn't have to be something complicated. It can be something super simple, but I do think that it makes you better
Yeah.
to have a broad range of skills. I want to be able to, drive anything with wheels, anything that flies, anything that goes in the water. Like it would be cool. Like I've never been on a
What are you,
snowmobile. I
James
would love
Bond?
to do that. No, like it would be cool. Like
Okay, just like
one
it's
day
like
learn how to fly helicopters. Why not? Like
yeah,
it's
it's like a big caterpillar thing, and like James Bond can just go on there and do that, or like
yeah, just
it's
drive the
like yeah,
caterpillar. Like, people
yeah,
are
it's a
like, what?
unicycle. Oh, there goes James Bond, like on a unicycle. He doesn't
Right,
do that,
exactly.
what I mean?
That would be badass. Yeah. Unicycle. Hey, what's up?
Have you seen
Um,
the what is it? It's a guy dressed up as Darth Vader playing the bagpipes on a unicycle. You'll have to look
no,
it up. It's anyways.
I'm
That's
not.
my one
I'm not gonna
unicycle
look
story.
it up. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, no, the
It's not
unicycle. I've tried unicycle, by the way.
for
It's not.
real.
It's yeah. It's
It's
not as
hard,
easy
dude.
as it looks.
It's super
Everybody,
hard.
but like you've never seen like okay, when was the last time you saw a brand new person learning how to ride the unicycle?
My brother
Not
about
never.
10 years
That
ago.
never happens.
My brother got
Every
one for
person,
Christmas.
dude, every person you see on a unicycle is a pro. Like everyone, you've never seen anyone learning. It's like they learn indoors in a warehouse, and then when they come out, they are already experts. Like
Yeah,
here
there
in
you go.
Georgia, I see people in unicycles like all the time. I don't know
Really?
why. It's like
What?
the unicycles capital of the world or something. But you see them here all the time, and the everyone is legit. Like like dude, they go like what's it, mountain biking in
I've seen
unicycle.
that. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's
It's
impressive.
insane. Yeah, they do that. But no, yeah, I tried a unicycle and I failed.
Yeah, I don't.
Obviously,
It's tough.
clearly.
It's really tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect to the unicyclist out there. So, if
Maybe
you
that
write,
should be a skill that we pick up. You see, that would be an easy one. You get a unicycle, you work on it for a year, and you'll be decent at it.
yeah, you
You
say
don't have to be
easy.
an expert.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's like balance and coordination and all sorts of
well,
different
you know,
things. I mean, you
get
can
after
do
it.
that,
Yeah,
but
get after it.
well, good man. What else? Anything else about picking a partner? I dropped in the link to what?
We're
What
gonna
was
go
this?
back to picking a partner after
It
50 minutes of nonsense. All right,
was
let's
20
talk
minutes of
more about
nonsense. It wasn't even nonsense. It
what.
was just hanging out.
All right, so dynamics.
No, what?
Nice segue from unicycles to
How
picking a
else?
partner.
How do you
Oh,
pick?
you nailed it.
This
Good
is
job.
this is why I need like the improv class. So
Oh
and
man.
here's dynamics.
All right, so speaking of so improv, so one of the things that we do a lot, you know, especially MVPs, some MVPs, not all
Look
of
at you.
MVPs, is
There's improv.
it's just like improv essentially at conferences and all kinds of stuff. Man, and there's so many stories. So far, the best one has been one that we had a couple of years ago. I'll tell you the story. I've never said it in a video or anything,
Don't
but
say it if you don't feel comfortable. But I'd
no,
love to hear it.
it doesn't matter. You know, your brother's gonna watch it, but I'm cool. He's cool. So
My one follower. Thank you. Family.
exactly.
Family for the win.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's funny because I told my wife like before I came down, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be online if you want to watch. She's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'll be watching something else. Thank you very much. So yeah, so it's cool your brother tunes in. That's nice. Family support. But anyway, so we were in at Extreme in Europe. It was the Extreme in what's it in Dubrovnik in Croatia.
Yeah.
So I got to go there. It was pretty cool. And you know, like towards the end of the conference, like me and Colin Vermander,
Yeah.
who's another MVP from Canada who works for KPMG, and Ulrik, the CRM chart guy, we were like we were at the bar or whatever at the hotel.
Yeah.
And then these guys, I think they were from KPMG in Amsterdam. They just came and introduced themselves or whatever. Like we were just talking, and for some reason I decided to make stuff up immediately, like improvise our careers. Right, so the guys are like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you know, typically in conferences like that, people know who I am or whatever. But
Yeah.
in this case, the guys were totally oblivious. So I'm like, "This is gonna be awesome." So the guys came in and he's like, "Oh, so what do you do or whatever?" And I'm like, "I'm an outside sales rep for my my company, Elevate Solutions." Right on,
Okay.
I had the polo shirt on and stuff.
Okay.
And they're like, "Oh, really? Outside salespeople?" And you came to Extreme, which is a technical conference for essentially experts, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. My company's very supportive. They want me to learn more and stuff, and it's pretty awesome." And you know, my CEO is here, so I introduced the CEO of Elevate, which is Ulrik. So Ulrik became the CEO of Elevate Solutions immediately, and they're like, "Oh man, that's good that you support your salespeople to come here to Extreme, and I would like to learn more of what you think the value is or whatever, because again, Extreme is a really good conference for functional consultants and solution architects, not salespeople, right?"
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the case. And then they look at Colin and it's like, so what about you? Like, what do you do? Or do you work for the same company? He's like, yes. And then he's like, what do you do? And I say, he is our director of our Silverlight practice, right? he's the director of a Silverlight practice. And the guy's like, what? Silverlight? Really? And yeah, really. And they look at Colin and they're like, wow, where do you have a Silverlight practice? I mean,
Yeah.
as you know, Silverlight is totally dead. And Colin, like, without hesitation, like, I knew he was the man when he said China. Like, immediately, without hesitation, he's like, China. It's like, wow. So you live in China? And he's like, yeah, I live in China. And the guy is like, wow, so how many people you have? It's like, oh, we have, 8 full-time Silverlight developers in China. It's like, where are in China? And he didn't even say Shanghai, like one of the main, cities
Yeah.
in China. He said like this small city in China. I don't even know if it's true, but he sounded legit when he said he lives in this village in China with a team of Silverlight developers. And
Wow.
like for 30 minutes, we talked to these KPMG guys about Silverlight and the future of it and the fact that we have the market corner because no one else
Because
does
nobody else is
Silverlight.
doing it. Yeah.
So they come to it. And until this day, like you can look at Colin's tweets, and whenever he tweets at me, he will always do hashtag Silverlight. Like it's years later, and we're still laughing about that because it was so awesome that we improvised so quickly about having a Silverlight practice, and everyone believed it. Everyone bought it. So we do that. I think Nick Hayduke is really, really good at it. I don't know if he did improv before, but he's like next level.
Yeah.
Like I'm so impressed. Like he'll come up with stuff, and I think he's totally serious
Yeah.
about it. Like that is the best improv. Like when you make
His
something
ability
up
to
and you're like, okay, you're clearly making something up. But Nick will make stuff up, and you're like, what? Really? And he's like, no, I'm kidding. Like,
No,
wow. He will be
he could say
so
so much with
quick.
a straight face. Yeah.
Such quick wit. So yeah, definitely. Let's do improv and mess up with Dutch people. I feel like that should be our goal
I
for
apologize for
2021. All right,
Wow.
anybody.
I
Insert
yeah,
nationality
yeah,
here.
yeah. Insert next conference location.
Yeah.
Barcelona,
Exactly.
watch out. Gus Gonzalez is coming. Don't believe anything.
Yeah, so I'm
But,
excited about next year. I don't know who's gonna be at the Scottish Summit. There's like 90 presenters or something. It's like a huge,
it
huge
was
event.
incredibly huge, man.
February 29th at whatever the Glasgow University.
Mm-hmm.
It's a college in Glasgow, whatever that is. So I'll be there, and then a week later, the UG Summit in Barcelona,
That'd be
which
fantastic.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll be there too. And then there's a week in between, so I'm surprising my wife. She's not watching this, obviously, so I can talk about this. Uh, so I'm surprising my wife with a little vacation in between. So she's
That'll be
coming
awesome,
to
dude.
Glasgow with me, and then she's gonna stay for the whole week. We're gonna stay over there on the east, and then I stay in Barcelona, and she comes back home. So
That'll
I'm
be
excited
cool.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah, very nice, man. It's yeah.
I am excited.
I heard last year they piped the individuals in, so they had like bagpipers like walk the speakers in at
Yeah,
the initial part. So that was kind of
looking forward to
yeah.
that. So the idea of the beard is to go along with a kilt. Like I want to be full on Scottish,
Okay.
Mel Gibson level. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes.
Okay. So are you gonna
Yeah.
do like do you have a tartan? So a tartan's like the different patterns. And so there's different patterns for the different families or the different clans. And
I'll just
so
be the McKillavoy or whatever. Like it doesn't
okay.
matter. Whichever family will adopt me.
Okay.
Uh, I will represent them at the Scottish Summit.
There you go.
And it'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, man. When you start looking at to my great grandfather came over from Ireland and he was Scotch Irish. And so before
Mm.
that his family was in Scotland and stuff like that. And so anyways, just when you start looking into that, the number of different like they have like little knives and stuff like that, and each little thing has a different meaning for it. And so anyways, it's impressive, all the different stuff. It's not just the kilt, but anyways.
Yeah, kilt and a beard, and I feel like I need a battle axe.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know what else is part of the uniform, but
You should
I
get a
should.
Minecraft battle axe.
All right, or a real one. Why not?
You could do.
I mean,
I
if
don't
you're
know if
going
it'll go
to
through
Scotland, might
customs,
as
but
well.
yeah, you can.
Get it in Scotland.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, and then
Everything
just
is legal.
ship it back.
Correct.
But no, it's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So hanging out with the attendees and everyone going because obviously it's in Scotland, so you're gonna have people from England and
Hmm.
Wales and
Those are a
Ireland
blast.
and Northern Ireland. They're all gonna converge in Glasgow, and I like it because it's interesting. Is February 29th is leap year, so I'm excited about
Oh,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, next year's a leap year, and yeah, very cool.
every 4 years.
Yeah, so but they had it last year, so I guess it's not. Yeah, that'll be cool. That's
Yeah,
is it a Saturday
it
then
is a
or
Saturday. Yeah,
that's crazy?
February 29th,
The extra day.
Saturday. Looking forward to it. Super excited about it. Haven't
Cool.
bought the tickets, but I
Is that your
definitely should.
next speaking engagement then?
I think so. Yeah, unless someone is doing a Saturday event somewhere or whatever, and
It's a little.
brings me in. I would love to do that. I was actually looking forward to the one in Portland because I originally was supposed to be there,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's a long way, man.
I couldn't make it happen, and I hope that we can make it happen next year or whatever. I
Yeah.
saw that they have you mentioned the Power Platform World Tour
Yeah.
or whatever. That one is coming to Atlanta too, so I
Hmm.
have to submit some sessions and hopefully get to speak there. I think it's in February or something.
Yeah, that'll
So
be good.
hopefully we can
So
make it
are they
happen.
releasing next year's then? I don't know if
Uh,
I've seen next year's stuff yet.
yeah,
For
well,
I mean,
the one in Atlanta is in February. I actually have it
makes sense.
loaded. Let me see.
Yeah, I was looking
Yeah,
at your screen back there, man.
yeah, February 11 and 12. We'll be there. I know that Steve Mordew submitted some sessions. He's the one who told me. He's like, "Hey, man, I'll see you in February." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Are
What's
you
happening?
coming to visit?" Yeah. What's happening in February? He's like, "Oh no, there's the World Tour." And I'm like, "Oh, what? Nobody told me."
Yeah,
So
11, 12.
he's
Yeah.
partially responsible for getting me to submit some sessions.
I don't know
And
whether we should
anyone,
thank them or
yeah, anyone wants to come to Atlanta for the World Tour, they should be able to hopefully make that happen because it's a couple months away.
yeah.
Plan
There you
for
go.
it.
We have plenty of time.
It's cheap to come to Atlanta. We have a really big airport and it's cheap to
Yeah,
fly here.
yeah. It is. It's a huge hub. It's also a pain to fly through, but yeah, it's a huge hub.
I know, and yeah, and right after Barcelona, we have the MVP Summit in Bellevue, so I'll
That's
be
right. You
there
guys are coming out to Seattle.
in March. Yeah,
Yeah,
excited about that. I already have all that booked out. It's pretty exciting
yeah.
when we do that.
It's
There's always a ton of content that comes out of the summit
oh,
too.
dude.
So
Yeah, it was. I've heard rumors that they're going to do a D365 Saturday around the same time.
that's
So
right. The rumors are true. I mean,
okay.
you should because you're gonna have a bunch of MVPs in town. So might
Yeah.
as well host the event.
Yeah, so that'll be the one Seattle event that they host.
Yeah.
So, as opposed to everything going down to Portland again. So,
Well, hopefully people from Portland come up because there'll
yeah,
be
they
like
will for sure.
there'll be a gazillion MVPs there. And again, there's some MVPs that only come to the MVP Summit.
Yeah,
Like that's their one event of the year that they're allowed to leave their cage or whatever. And they'll be there. So might as well come in
give it a shot.
and enjoy that. Yeah, I think I'll be arriving Saturday night, so I won't be able to join because I'll be
Yeah.
gone for several weeks at that point. So I want to come home and I don't want to take all my clothing. Like if I have to go 4 weeks in a row and take all that
We
stuff. It's
appreciate
gonna
if
be
you stay home an extra like 12
correct.
hours.
Yeah. So I think I'm
before you go.
arriving from Barcelona on Friday and then flying to Seattle on Saturday.
That's
So
crazy.
I'll get to swap backs
Yeah.
and then go up there and get after it. So I'm looking forward to the MVP Summit for sure. Every
That's
year I look forward to it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that, and it's fun to watch. Again, on social media or whatever, people just excited about that. I think there's a lot of
It
people.
dies. Like social media dies that week.
I've sent you. I tweeted that out, man. It's like a guy like looking through the blinds. It's like
Yeah.
every like my social media, the people I follow is quiet that week.
And
So
it's always interesting to see who really is tweeting out there themselves versus who has robots putting out all this information, right?
you're not calling anybody out right now.
No, I'm not. But it's like if you are that weak and you see that everything is dead, but somehow there's this few MVPs that seem to be tweeting while they're at the MVP Summit, you'll be like, that's
There's
pretty
nothing
interesting.
wrong with that, man. They just means they got their shit together and they're like getting ready to. They have the roadmap
Nothing
out.
wrong with that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you'll know people out there auto tweeting and versus the ones that write it up. I mean, I write like almost every tweet I write has like spell mistakes and spelling mistakes and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. I write that stuff on the phone. I hit tweet and whatever. I don't care. I don't tweet that often, but yeah, it's I'm excited. I didn't travel a whole lot this year. At least I don't feel like I did. My frequent flyer account is like nothing like this year. So I didn't
Did you
earn
make it?
anything. No,
Nothing.
like I made it, but I didn't make it to. I made it to the first level, silver,
Okay.
whatever that is, which tells me that I didn't really travel a whole lot. So that's
That's
pretty
good.
cool. I was able to be home. Now, obviously, you ask my wife, and she says I travel all the time. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not gonna bring this back to the beginning, but like when you're picking a partner, sometimes
yeah.
like
Oh
that's a
yeah, yeah.
benefit, right?
Picking a partner. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you're picking a partner and it's like, oh, I want to
Right.
be gold or medallion or platinum or whatever. It's like, oh, we
That,
can get you there.
if that's your goal, for sure, there are partners out
There's
there will
partners for that.
more than happy to hook you up all the way to diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but
good, man.
it's interesting, and I've met some people that love that. I've met consultants that don't even have a house. Like they travel so much, they
That's
live in
impressive.
hotels,
Yeah.
and when they're in town, they'll stay at their parents or whatever. Like
Yeah.
their parents have a big house or
Yeah.
whatever, and they're 20 something. They're
Heck,
not
I'd do
ready
it.
to buy a place or
Yeah.
whatever. They just travel and work and go see new places
Yeah.
and there are situations where you travel and you'll have like the same location over and over and over again for like 8 months. And then there are some situations where you actually get to travel to all kinds of different
Yeah.
destinations,
For sure.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
So,
When I first started with RSM, they sent me to San Mateo, which is just south of San Francisco. And so they were like, hey, you're going to be there for 3 weeks. And I was like, can I stay over the weekend? And they're like, oh, yeah, totally. It's actually cheaper than if we were to fly you back and forth. And so,
absolutely.
like, I visited the Bay Area for like a couple of weekends, and it was a blast, man, going up to
That's
Napa
awesome.
and everything. And yeah. And so there's a huge benefit. My wife is a nurse. And so there was travel nurses and stuff like that. And so every 3 months they go to a different place. And so
Mm,
I always thought that was kind of an interesting experience. I mean, it's tough because you don't build community and camaraderie and stuff like that. You kind of have, you don't have that, but at the same time,
right.
that ability to go see everything is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I
So
think, and if you're adventurous to
yeah,
begin with, then you're good to go. Like for me, I'm not really scared of going like almost anywhere. I grew up in South America, like one of the most dangerous countries in the
huh?
world,
Yeah,
Venezuela. So I'm
yeah,
like, I'll go anywhere. It doesn't matter to me. And I have a ton of stories where I would, like you mentioned, stay over the weekend or
yeah,
something at a place, and you'll be like, oh, let's just go here, and then you make it happen, like rent a car, fly, whatever,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
just go there and see what's there. So I love that stuff, and I've been places that I've been just walking around. Like I was one time in Greece, I went to this island that it wouldn't even have an airport. Like I had to take like two ferries and I was in the middle of the jungle just walking to like a beach and just walking in this jungle by myself, and I'm like, how
how
do I
did
get
you
to do
get
this stuff?
there?
Exactly. Well, like, why not? It was
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. And then those are the trips that kind of stick with you. Is when you go and you're
Yeah,
adventurous and go out on your own. If you're not afraid, then so be it. And I feel bad sometimes because I have colleagues that don't get to do stuff like that. Like there'll be a trip to India and they'll be like, well, I'm a single, female.
yeah,
I don't wanna risk it or whatever. I'll be like, I'll go anywhere. Like I'll go. I don't care.
yeah.
I'm too ugly for anything to happen. So I'm in. Let's do it. So I'll go
Looking at you with the
everywhere.
beard right now, it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
no, I agree. Yeah,
I think it's an enhancement. But
hide some. Yeah, no, it's good.
so yeah. So anyway, picking a partner. So what advice do you have? You haven't really shared
Well,
your
now
own.
that we've had like 45 minutes of Gus talking about other shit.
I wonder how you're going to set this up on the timeline
What do
though.
you mean?
Picking a
You
partner,
just type it.
minutes 1 through 5, 17
Yeah,
through
yeah, that's how
21.
you do it, man. This is what we talked about, and then we talked about baseball at the 30-minute mark. 45 minutes, we talked about
Yeah, exactly.
unicorns or
That's
whatever it
gonna be
was.
interesting. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be like picking a partner, baseball, and then this like
20,
hodgepodge
2020 goals. I mean, you start
customs.
to
Yeah,
group them, right? So 2020 goals. So we talked about baseball, the
yeah.
Astros and stuff like that. That was 10, 15 minutes. And you look at the
We
2020
talked about
goals, and
improv.
then
We talked about flying planes. We
that's
talked
all.
about
Yeah, you just
rebreathers.
group that stuff. You just group that
Yeah,
stuff. That's 2020.
just group all of that. Might as well talk about the situation in Syria, and just
Yeah.
drop
So,
it in there.
anyways, this is the end of the stream. No, I'm just kidding. So
Yeah,
no, I
exactly.
think so. For me, picking a partner, I think so. Everything you said exactly on. I think there's so many different partners for different things. There's different people want so many different things out of a career, and where
Right.
they're at in their career is different. And so I've seen people either join a partner because, and I don't want to pick on the GP people or anything like that, but they're wanting they've done this for 30 years or 20 years or whatever, and they're happy where they're at, and they're just gonna to ride that product out, and they're like, hey, we're good with this, and there's a lot of opportunity in the GP space still. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there's people in the accounting departments that are going to use that until we talked about this last time, until
you force them out.
Yeah, the same people on 2011 CRM, right? They've been on there 9 years, so there's still a long pathway for the GP people. And so I think there's different people as they're looking for what they want out of their career. When I joined RSM was something that I wanted to be with a consulting firm that I could see a bunch of different stuff, because before that I was at one firm and they only did one thing. And I was like, there's more out there as far as opportunities go. And so what does that look like? And then from that, it eventually evolved into what does it mean to lead other people? And I have a blog post out there that talks about what does it mean to become a new manager. And so that ability from back in college, it used to be how big a boulder could you lift, right? Because you got paid to do manual labor. And then eventually you get a college education, or you get an education, you get experience. And now it's, what do you know? And that's what we're going to pay you for. And then now it's become, you're getting paid for the team you can lead. So it's not, what does Seth know? It's what is the team able to accomplish? And so it's really this paradigm shift. And so
what can you do to empower that team to
exactly
do better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no longer, I mean, when you talk about these different people, it's like you have these college kids, these experienced hires, you have all these different players coming in, and it's how do you challenge them? How do you give them what they're looking for in a career at this time? And then how do you take them to the next level? And how do you stretch and grow them? The best compliment I ever received was, I feel stretched but supported, kind of thing. And so that ability to, hey, like I'm thin, but I know that I'm not out on a limb, type of thing. And
right. You're not alone, for sure.
And so just for me personally, that's what as my career's progressed, I've looked for these different things. And so I found that. But again, if you're coming from the power user, the new system, you've been sort of the system administrator, and you want to be that solution architect, I think there's opportunities to either do that even internally that you may not be aware of. Like, hey, like just sort of maybe go over to IT internally and become that champion there. And then go out to a consulting firm. It doesn't always have to be a consulting firm that you go to, or a partner. So, and even ISV, I think they're kind of downplayed. I think there's a lot of people that, again, want to change the world and want to do impactful things. And when you're a partner doing implementations, you end up, okay, I'm going to do this implementation. We're going to support you. We're going to go on. But at some point, that relationship kind of shifts between, hey, every day we're delivering new software, to, hey, this is your software that you're going to maintain and go forward with. Whereas an ISV, hey, we've built this product and this is what we own, and I know this really well, and this helps solve an issue. And so that sort of, hey, you have a new issue. Okay, cool. We're going to build that into the software, and now we're going to deploy that out to everybody. And so there's a lot of different opportunities out there. You talked about Matt with Click Dimensions, right? And so now he's with Hitachi. And so that transition from being, hey, I own a product and I know a product really well and it meets this niche in the market and this need in the market, to now, hey, we implement software and we do field service really well, or we do this other thing really well. What does that look like? So anyways, that's kind of my...
Absolutely. And not only picking the right partner, but also picking the right role. Like, not everyone should be a solution architect or a functional consultant or a trainer or a developer or a sales or whatever. It applies to every role. But so picking the partner is not enough. It's also picking a role that really matches your skill set and your personality and kind of what you like doing. So
I think the other part of that I've tried to encourage people to do is find out what you enjoy doing, right? So if you enjoy teaching, sometimes that's even pre-sales, because when you're doing pre-sales, you're help people understand what is possible in the art of the possible, right? And so that's a form of teaching and education. It doesn't have to be, hey, I need to be the person in the front leading training, and it's right before go live type of thing. But anyways,
correct.
Yeah,
makes sense. But all right, well, I think we talked about
pretty much everything.
Partners for whatever it was, an hour and a half. I don't know how long we've been talking about this.
Hour 20, yeah.
And people got almost no value from it. So
whoa.
Thank you.
They found out about the Astros. They found out about rebreathing.
That's true.
Learn more about you and your story, and somehow you ended up in the middle of Greece.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So, but no, I appreciate it, Gus. I think we'll connect again probably the first week of December. Is that?
Yeah, the week
Sound
after
good?
Thanksgiving, we should come back and talk about how much we ate and whatnot.
Yeah, there you go. And then that'll be right after the Portland event. So we'll give you an update on that too.
So there's
So,
another event in Portland. What is going on?
dude, I
Like, do
told
people
you
have jobs in Portland or what? They
they
are
do.
just hosting
It's,
events and
it's hosting events.
getting after it. Yeah,
Yeah. So good beer in
that's awesome.
Portland. No sales tax in Portland. It's a good place
What?
to be.
Man, I gotta check it out.
So
I told him I gotta find a customer in Portland, and then we can time it correctly. So when I go on site,
there you go.
we can have an event of some kind.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I'll show up at the airport and that'll be the event. Gus is
yeah,
here. Oh.
right, exactly. Yeah,
So,
that'll
cool,
be
man.
that'll be. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, I
All
will
right, man.
talk with you after the holidays, man. Have a good one.
Sounds good. 2 weeks from now. See you.
Bye.